evening, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. The this progressive journey I've been on, oftentimes started in a car or on my back porch, using a cell phone, using nothing more than just the thoughts that were in my brain and the things that I had learned and wanted to share. But it was never a well thought out plan. For years and years and years I've been doing this, and I'm getting exhausted. I'm getting tired. I'm getting worn out. My energy and so forth has taken a huge hit. It's been very, very difficult. You see, here's the thing. Anybody can grab a cell phone and videotape something. Anybody can sit there and talk at a camera for hours at a time. But not everybody can build a fucking organization. And not everybody can try and do something bigger than just their own little live stream that they've done. But for 4 years plus, I've been trying to do that. And there have been different times where Real Progressives has had really phenomenal in the field reporting. And then there's been lean times like what we have now, where just Joy and myself are your only live streamers at the moment. We didn't have to beg people to go videotape an event. We didn't have to go out there and beg people to come to a live stream. We didn't have to beg people to remember, hey, if you've got an event you're going to be doing at some college, let us know and we'll go ahead and film it for you. Or maybe you can go ahead and film for us and live stream to our page in front of 125,000 people. Instead, what you've got now is a situation of people that would rather go live in front of 3 people, 10 people maybe, or not even live stream at all and act surprised that no one knows the work they're doing. And, alternative media's got to start somewhere, right? It can't just be, the same nonsense over and over again. We've got enough people out there shouting about petrodollars that don't know their ass from their elbow. We've got enough people out there talking about the nonsense that they see the mainstream media put out there and just kind of regurgitate the same shit. I wanted to build something truly special based on 7 knowledge areas. Based on 7 key areas where we could build policy, where we could build education, where we could build activism, and we could cover it with media. I wanted to build something so special that it would change the world. And for 4+ years, I've tried to do that every day of the week. Now, for the last 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, something like that, my life has taken a very, very difficult turn for my own personal self with my son and his sleeping habits as an autistic young man. I've not been able to be out there 7 days a week, jumping over to the Capitol, catching a animal rights protest there, then running down the street and capturing some other protest there, and then going over here and doing a live stream on my lunch break, and then running over here and doing a show or an interview at night. I haven't been able to do that. And I feel tremendously guilty that I've not been able to do that. But I've not been able to do that. But I went down memory lane, and I was looking at all the videos and all the things that we've covered over the last 4+ years. And I think to myself, I have about had it up to my head with the Real Progressives blackout that some frenemies have instituted on us. I watched the hard work that we've put in. And I look at the blood, sweat, and tears and the loss and the energy and the life suck that it puts out there on you. And then I realize there are events going on where there's absolutely nobody paying attention to them at all. Important events that no one's paying attention to. And there's no one covering it. And Real Progressives could be covering it. But Real Progressives is not covering it. And I literally sat there and I wept over this. Now, for you all who maybe just casually, hey, there's a live stream, let's go and click and watch it. Maybe it's not a big deal to you. But I've lost jobs over this. I fought with my family trying to keep this joint going when no one else believed in it. I stayed up all night long writing down charters and things like that to try and make these things happen when everybody else was asleep. And I say this to you just so you understand how much this means to me. It means everything to me, because I was so exhausted with the shitty media that we have to choose from. The absolute shitty media. And my phone falling off the windshield is not any better. But I was so frustrated with the shitty media that we had to deal with. And the poor coverage. And the weak-ass evaluations of economics. The laziness of our alternative media to not learn economics is so unconscionably bad, so unconscionably inhuman, so worthless, so devoid of value, that all I could think about was we have got to do better. We have got to be the ones that do this. Now, for those of you who have watched for a few years, who know what I'm talking about, who have seen us at our best, who have seen us at our worst, who have laughed with us, cried with us, who have enjoyed seeing the live streams that we've done during special events, so forth. This stuff was always very important to everybody. We all really cared immensely. And, we still do, I think. But there's a fundamental lack of understanding of what it means to be a citizens media organization, as I adjust my little camera prod here. And it's very, very difficult to train people. And it's very, very difficult to get people who want to build a better mousetrap to understand how hard it is to not only build an audience, but to build a reputation and build a brand and try to make it relevant. And all my life, we have sat there and fought with a blackout, a virtual blackout. We've had to deal with Facebook algorithms on their own. But then we've got to deal with this cult of personality bullshit. This horse shit. For 4 years, I have built up people that you all had never heard of before. For 4 years, I spent my life elevating people that you had never heard of before. Making sure that people knew who they were. Making sure that you knew how to find their work. Making sure that you understood how it was vital that you learn their work. And making sure that you knew where to find their fucking podcasts. Making sure that you knew that this guy knows all about the Federal Reserve, and this guy knows all about sectoral balances, and this lady knows this, and that one knows that, and go here and go there. But there's no reciprocity. There's no reciprocity. And when you're sitting there working your ass off, trying to build something, when people defect and they try and start their own thing, and they go over here and try and start their own thing, go over here and try this, and everybody, I'm going to go follow them. No, I'm going to follow them. And you realize, Jesus Christ, we can't get out of our own way, can we? We can't get out of our own fucking way, can we? We're too cool for school. We always think we could build a better mousetrap. We always think we can do it a little bit better or whatever. And then you realize that, hey, to do this right, it's way more than social media. It's a hell of a lot more than social media. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of broken dreams, a lot of expenses, a lot of learning, a lot of training, a lot of recruiting, people that come in for 5 minutes, get excited for 5 minutes, promise you the world, and then ghost you for the rest of the time. They don't do anything. They don't even share. No joke. But they want to tear the system down. Folks, they want to tear the system down, baby. But they can't even share a post. They can't even smash the like button, but they want to take down the establishment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you realize the ridiculousness of that? You can't share a post, but you want to tear down the establishment. I'm telling you right now, our movement needs alternative media very badly. Tulsi Gabbard announced her presidency today. Did the mainstream media pick it up? No. Did real progressives carry a stream for it? Sadly, no. Sadly, we shared a share of a share because we didn't have a correspondent in Hawaii. We have lots of people that love Tulsi on our team, but nobody thought, hey, I volunteer for a media organization. Maybe I should find somebody who can help us live stream the event. It didn't happen. And I feel very guilty about that. I feel tremendously guilty about that. Like you wouldn't believe how guilty I feel about that. How in the world can I be heading up an alternative media group that doesn't think about covering the Tulsi Gabbard announcement? How can I even conceive of leading a media organization if I can't do that basic thing? I fell down. I fucked up, guys. I'm sorry. That's my bad. Because in the past, I would have never allowed that to happen. I would have been on the phone with Harvard to get somebody covering an event in Harvard. I'd have been on the phone in Florida getting somebody to cover the stupid little, events down in Florida. I would have been over there on the phone with somebody that's in Hawaii covering that. I would have been doing these things. I look at our old videos and I remember, folks, I remember tear gas. And I remember grenades, and I remember smoke everywhere at Disrupt J20 and Occupy Inauguration. I remember when we're covering Standing Rock and we're talking to people at the scene. That's media. I remember this shit, man. It's not like somebody else did. I was there. And so I say to myself, what do we got to do so that we can take alternative media and make it work for us again in spite of the Facebook algorithms? How do we get it so that a volunteer list isn't ghosting us? They're checking in to see how they can help and they're telling you about events and stuff. How do we get that feedback loop going? And it's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. And when you know what it looks like when it's right, and somebody tries to calm you down and tell you, hey, man, this is the way it should be, and you realize it's not the way it should be, that they're trying to dumb your expectations down, that's very frustrating. It's like gaslighting. It's like, do you want to be successful? Do you want this place to be everything it can be? Do you want to change the world? Or are you content just bouncing from Facebook group to Facebook group, talking to them, being their friends one minute, being their friends the next minute, jumping over here, jumping over there? Man, if I never see social media again, it'll be okay. I want to cover the important stuff, and I want to educate people, and I want to change the world. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be a busybody. I want to change the world. I don't need 1 million friends. I want to change the world. I have a family I care about a lot, and I want to change the world. I don't care if I'm the first one to like someone's tweet. I don't care if I'm always there for so-and-so's live stream. I want to change the world. That's what I'm here for. And we've got a lot of really good people at RP that need to learn and get trained and figure out how this game works. Because you always have people that leave, try and build a better mousetrap, shit talk you on the way out the door. And you can't worry about that. But what you can worry about, what you must worry about, is how success looks and what success feels like, so that you can pass it on, so you can each one teach one what it looks like to do it right. And it's about caring, it's about showing up, it's about putting a jersey on. I don't care if there's 10 other groups that talk about MMT. I'm here to build real progressives. I'm here to build the vehicle to change the world, not just talk about MMT. 1 million people are suddenly talking about MMT. Do you remember a few years ago when none of y'all knew what MMT was? It's easy to forget, but I remember I still got the battle scars from being the one out there yelling and screaming taxes don't fund spending, and having to deal with the bullshitters talking about it being a cult. I remember that because I broke that shit. Do you all remember? I do. And do you remember everybody's like, what is he talking about? Of course taxes fund spending. What is he, crazy? And I stayed the course, stayed the course, stayed the course, stayed the course. And now all of a sudden CNN's talking about it. Now all of a sudden all the mainstream, because Kelton is finally getting her due. She's finally being noticed. She's finally known by people. And I'm so glad. We worked our asses off promoting Stephanie Kelton. Look at the history of the work I've done. Look at every single day how many times I quote her, put her tweets up, put her videos up, do whatever. I have been relentless and religiously, every day. It didn't matter when my father was dying, I was doing it. Do you understand this is how important this is? And when my father passed away, I did it then. Seriously. And to be locked out by certain personalities is just absolutely unconscionable. Am I a little bit bitter? You better believe I am. You better fucking believe I am. Do I hold grudges? Not often, but do I? You better believe I do. When I think somebody is standing in the way of me and something important, you're goddamn right I hold a grudge. Do I want to hold a grudge? Oh, wouldn't it be great if we could all just go along to get along and everything? No. When you are literally blacking us out and icing us out and treating us like second-class citizens, and we've killed ourselves to try and do... No. Sorry. I'm sorry. I've worked too hard. This organization has taken too much of an ass whooping and kept fighting the fight day in and day out, regardless of the black eyes and the shit talk. We have never deviated from the truth. Do you understand this? We have never deviated from the truth. We have stayed steadfast even when people turn their backs on us. Even when people took a dump on us, we stayed true north. I say this because I really believe in what we're doing. And I hope that I'm either able to train people to do what I did, or that my son's sleep schedule allows me to get back to where I can do all the interviews that I once did. But let me tell you something that's really, really interesting. We got a podcast out now called Macro and Cheese. We've been talking about it forever. Well, Macro and Cheese went live yesterday. The first episode went out yesterday. It's on Libsyn, but it also went out on SoundCloud. Folks, we're trying like crazy to get things going. But here's what happened the other night. I'm not going to mention her name, but she came to me last night and she says, "Oh my God, Steve, I just saw the numbers and I just saw the old videos. You guys were close to really, really being like the Young Turks, but except about real shit." And I said, yeah, we were, weren't we? We had 30 live streamers. We had a fucking fuck ton of things going on. But evil trolls do what evil trolls do, and they tear down that which is trying to become something. And so here we are. Now, I believe in my team today. The team we have today, I believe in very much so. But we don't have the superstars on the camera. And we don't have some of the personalities that you know and love that we used to have back in the day. But what we do have is a real team, a team that's working their ass off behind the scenes, so that when we do recruit new talent, when we do recruit people to take the camera and take the mic, that there will be a strong team backing them up. We didn't have that before. It was always by the seat of our pants. But it looked good. You didn't know that. Well, now we're working hard. But we've got volunteers, no joke, come in, they do their interview, they're excited, they're whatever, and then within 2 weeks, you haven't heard from them again. They're off over there chasing a yellow vest this or something or other that. And it's really hard to build when people are like scatterbrained like a friggin' squirrel. Shiny object, shiny object. You got to be able to stay the course to build something substantive. And that's what our movement lacks. Substance. We got people fighting for their own little one issue. They got people fighting for this one candidate. They got people fighting for their local dog catcher, whatever. But we don't have a movement like we did. We need that movement to make the changes we need to make. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck with Kamala Harris. Y'all want Kamala Harris? Is that the kind of shit you want? I mean, seriously, we have got to get ourselves out of this bizarre freaking crabs in a barrel mindset of pulling each other down. We are never going to be able to build the kind of organizational structure it takes to take on the Pete Peterson Foundation. You think one guy, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do a live stream with 5 people by myself, and that's going to take down the establishment. Yeah, baby. That's the keys to the kingdom right there. No, it takes an organization, and it takes a movement. It takes more than your solo efforts in your backyard. They say all politics is local, But let me tell you something. It takes an org, it takes a movement to do it in a way that really changes the world. And I want to do that. I want to build that. But it takes more than a 2-week commitment and then checking out and ghosting and not saying anything to anybody and just vanishing. Think about what I'm saying. Are you that kind of volunteer? Are you the kind of volunteer that shows up for 1 minute and then vanishes? Are you that volunteer? Are you that volunteer that half-asses your work? Are you that volunteer that says you're in, but you really don't show up? I look at it like this. You guys do with this analogy what you want. But when my kids play baseball, a sport for God's sake, and I take them to the practice field, guess what I expect to be at the practice field? I expect the fucking coach to be at the practice field. I don't care if they're a volunteer. I expect the coach to be at practice. Now, they're just there to win a baseball game or a t-ball game or get a merit badge. But if you're here to change the world, wouldn't you think that might inspire the kind of showing up attitude that a baseball coach does? Or the person running the concession stand? Wouldn't you think that it would be at least of an equal level of commitment at some level? Hey, I want to change the world. Hey, I want to serve some Slurpees. I mean, even the guy carrying the ball bag to the soccer practice shows up, because if he doesn't, the kids don't have a practice. You would think we would all take that kind of mindset into our activism, into the work we're doing to change the world for our families, for our children. You would think that we would at least put that level of commitment into this that you see the Cub Scout leader do. And this is a definite call out to everybody. What do you want to do with your life? What do you want this world to be? How did you expect it to change by doing half measures? How did you expect success showing up once every blue moon, not checking in? Ask yourself that question. I can't do it for you. You have to ask yourself that question. And when you see the establishment beating the taste out of our mouth, and you see them showing up for work every day, the establishment types, and you realize that they're more committed to a lie than we are to the truth, that's a real friggin' red flag to me. Now, I know what they've done to us by making our lives a living hell and making it hard to organize and making it hard to have faith and making it hard to have energy and taking away the money that we have to survive so that we can actually have time to do these things. It's tough. It is a hard son of a bitch. But where's all these morons that want to burn it down and start new and have friggin' live off the land? I mean, that's real hard. So how are you going to burn it down? How are you going to tear down the establishment? How are you going to do all this stuff? You can't show up to volunteer to help. Think about what I'm saying to you. Think of the absurdity. Think of the absolute absurdity. Now, I tell you this because people, as I talk to people, I realize that they are still deeply programmed into partisan bullshit. I did a show a few weeks back on actually it was last week, on the Kamala Harris deal. And the fact that the Russian narrative has dumbed us down to the point where many so-called progressives would just accept anyone other than Trump. Because they've been so beaten down and they bought the friggin' mainstream narrative. Where was a strong voice to talk against the mainstream narrative? You had other people, but they're talking petrodollars. Do you understand? The alternative media that you would listen to is talking about stupid petrodollars. How in the world can you expect to defeat the establishment when you're just carrying these lies, carrying these fantasy stories? You can't beat them with more fantasy. They're already killing you with fantasy. You need to kill them with the truth. And that's all I got tonight, man. I wasn't even going to go live. I was going to eat tonight and just go ahead and consider going live tomorrow night during the Super Bowl. But I figured it was important enough to let people know. There's a real media organization here that's very poorly funded. Shitty funding. Horrible funding. The establishment gets a hell of a lot more funding. People paying huge subscription fees to garbage news. And we're trying our asses off. And we can't get the funding. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is. If you really want alternative media to serve your needs, to help tell the truth, even when the lies are it's everywhere. And that's your choices. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your time where your mouth is. Prove that you're interested in building something that take on the establishment. That's what we're doing at RP. And if you don't want to do it at RP, do it somewhere else. But for God's sake, put up or shut up. Put up or shut up. It's time to really, truly invest in that which you believe in. And I'm not shy in telling you, I just told you I put my entire life into this. Lost jobs over this. Huge family fights over this. Huge loss of friendships over this. It means everything to me. If you can't be a part of it, help contribute to it, please. We need your help. In any event, shout out to all the volunteers that show up and put the jersey on. Shout out to all the people that are proudly wearing their Real Progressives profile pictures. Real shout out to those people that show up to events gladly announcing, hi, I'm with Real Progressives, that don't hide it, that show it, wear it proudly. Hats off to all the people that proudly put that out there. I want to thank every one of those people in particular. And with that, I am Steve Grumbine, and I'm going to go ahead and get some sleep. Have a good night, everybody. I'm out.